Hey guys, it's raining here and I'm just shooting a video and updating you on my progress, and also want to talk a little bit in response to some of the comment that I've been getting here. I'm getting ready to go on a run. I really appreciate all the support, from the people on YouTube. I know there's a lot of people out there suffering from various degrees of mental illness, and I'm just here trying to document my recovery. I've been dealing with this in varying degrees for the past 9 years. Learned a lot throughout that process. Only and it got really bad about 4 years ago, and now I've recovered almost, 80%, 70-80%. Sleeping pretty good, a lot better than I used to. Like I said, I'm exercising, out in the sun, gave up alcohol, smoking, caffeine, sugar, all those things. Definitely helped me get a long way. And in response to one of the comments I got, and I really appreciate the support, about how with the supplements and the medications, that I have it wrong as far as my modality of healing. And I think that those were very wise words, and not that I necessarily have it wrong, but everybody's suffering in different degrees of mental illness, and it can be caused by many different factors, from poor lifestyle, poor ways of thinking. Well, I have spent many years being a very negative person. And that was just how I was born. Some people are born with certain levels of neurotransmitters over other people. Like, for example, if this caveman had less, let's say less anxiety than another caveman, his cousin, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go into this cave. He gets eaten by a bear, and his more anxious cousin would be your relative, ancestor. So different balance of neurotransmitters leads to people that are leaders versus people that are followers, versus people that are comical versus people that are quiet, introverts, extroverts. Everybody's different and has a different chemical makeup, which is why it's so difficult to determine a path for one person over another. I've done a lot of extensive studies showing that positive thinking can remodel the brain. Meditation, mindfulness, and all that stuff. I also know, in response to some of the comments about how you can sort of think your way out of this. That's true for certain people. I'm probably in the middle of the case where some people can't even get out of bed. Some people can't leave their house. Some people can't go to the store. I was almost that person. Never let myself get to that point. But it was very close. Not saying if you are that person that I'm better than you. You may have had it worse. You may have had a different situation, or who knows. But this is my experience and what I'm learning. And there's a book called The Upward Spiral, which is actually very enlightening. And for me, studying neuropharmacology and neurochemistry, biochemistry, and so forth the past few years, and taking classes now in that, it's fascinating for me. I have one of those brains where I like to learn. Doctors got me sicker and sicker over the years, and now I want to know what's going on in the brain. So I want to talk a little bit about that, very, very briefly, because it's important. If you know what's going on, at least for me, I feel a ton better. So anxiety is a good thing. Your brain thinks it's keeping you alive. you are like 20 times more likely to retain bad memories than good memories. And I know that sucks. It's like, oh, brain, you've betrayed me. But really, it's adaptive. Imagine if you ate a red berry and got really, really sick, or your relatives ate a red berry and got really, really sick and died. When you see a red berry, you're going to automatically have an anxiety moment. Your body's going to release those chemical messengers. It's going to create that stress response to let you know, hey, whoa, there's berries are red. So this is a way of warning you of danger. Well, in modern society, we have so many stressors and too many choices. Where in our early ancestry, we didn't have as many. There wasn't as many stressors as we have now. And because of that, actually we have too many choices. And I think this is part of the reason why we have what we do, this epidemic. It's the indecision. For a long time, I just thought diet was going to cure me. That doing the paleo diet was going to cure me and heal my brain. And it has to a large extent. Well, not cured me, but definitely helped me feel well and better. Especially a lot of the physical symptoms I used to have. But I got stuck in that way of thinking, and I know a lot of people that diet has helped. And in that situation, they were probably, their deficiency was a dietary root cause. But anyway, so it's the same thing. We could go through this, but it'd be better if you listen to the audiobook, because there's so much information in there. I'll give you one more example that's pretty cool to me, is dopamine. So dopamine is this pleasure-seeking, you eat something that's high in sugar, that's adaptive from our ancestry. Oh yes, this tastes good, eat more and more, because sugar was very, very rare in the wild, extremely rare. So having that abundant of energy when you could find it was the same reason ants love sugar. We want energy. Energy is life. Fruit, plants, they absorb energy from the sun. This is actual energy from biofuels. I mean, it's all energy from the sun. Everything on Earth, all energy comes from the sun. So it's insane how we absorb that energy, either through animals that ate plants or through plants that get it directly from the sun. So we also get energy from the sun. I'm out here being in the sun as much as possible. It's getting summer out. The longer I'm in the sun, the better I feel. A lot of vitamin D, but it also releases neurotransmitters, so does exercise. And don't get, you might say, oh, this guy's running 30 plus miles a week or whatever. That's crazy. I can't do that, but don't think that I enjoy it, or I did in the beginning. Now I get that runner's high, I get those endorphins, so I really do enjoy the after result, because I'm always in a better mood, I'm less irritable. I almost feel like I've taken a medication after running. It's a great way to get good breathing and oxygen and sunlight. So anyway, back to dopamine. So other things that are very important for survival, sex. I mean, that's why sex feels good, because it releases dopamine. So if you apply that to current society, you can see how society and technology has transformed little things that you would never realize have huge impacts on your brain health. So imagine this. When you eat chocolate for the first time, like when you go into a store and you've never had a candy bar in your life, you don't get excited about candy bars. It could taste like dog shit for all you know. But one day you buy a candy bar. Oh my God, it's so good, because chocolate releases dopamine. Well, the next time you go to the store, this is the fascinating part, when you get in the store and you see the candy bar, you're like, oh man, dopamine's automatically released, because your brain is saying, oh, dopamine. So you actually get a pre-dopamine release literally just by looking at it. And then it can even get worse, to a point where you're having dopamine surges by seeing a commercial of a candy bar, or having thoughts of candy bars. Same thing with sex. Sex feels good because we need to procreate. If it was very painful, we probably wouldn't have made it as a species. So think about, example would be pornography. Pornography releases lots of dopamine. Problem is the law of diminishing returns for a lot of this stuff. The more you do, because we have like abundant access to these things, and now online there's tons of porn sites, and you could look it on your phone, and it's horrible. Well, depending on who you ask, but to me it's horrible. And people get addicted to that because they're addicted to dopamine. That's why they get addicted to caffeine. That's why they get addicted to all these things. They're giving us this rush. But the more you do it, the worse it gets. You need more and more. So now you just think about pornography, or you start to get that dopamine rush, and you need to get that fix. So we can work on these things. The good news is we can work on these things. And also, depression decreases parts of the brain. And antidepressant medications use, even though I'm big anti-medicine, but I'm looking into it. Sometimes it can be a useful tool for people who are dealing with certain things. Also, there's adrenal fatigue. It is a real thing, and you could be in different stages of that through stress, constant release of DHEA and cortisol. So anyway, back to the original reason for this video was to say that some people cannot think themselves out of depression or anxiety. Maybe in the very early stages, if you could apply that paradigm, but the problem is most people don't realize they have a problem until it gets to a point where they're not able to function. And then it's often too late to think yourself out of it, because the brain holds on to these negative memories and these negative emotions. One panic attack can create a downward spiral until you're completely exhausted. So after years, when you don't know, and the point of this YouTube video, and my therapist even said, she's like, oh, you always, you're posting all this stuff online, and kind of like I'm attention seeking. Nothing could be further from the truth. I made these videos originally because I suffered with a very rare chronic condition of the bladder that was extremely painful, that I found a treatment for after years of suffering and almost taking my life from that pain. I got ants biting my ankle. I didn't even want to make the videos because I didn't want to remind myself of it, because I've been diagnosed with PTSD. And if you had been through it, or if you're watching this video and you're going through it, it's debilitating. For me, it was absolutely debilitating. And I wanted to post some videos just to share the message of hope. There was a point where my doctors told me that I would never get better, that there was no cure, there was no treatment, that I would just never get better, and I lost all hope. And then I met a doctor in California, I read his book, and I applied his modality, and I got better. I'm not 100%, I might not ever be 100%, but I have days, a lot of days, where I don't feel any pain. Never thought I would have a life again. And so for me, and that's my personal story. So, and I've said this before in other videos, I'm working on the positive thinking and trying to change my perception. I'm naturally pessimistic. I started listening to Christian music because I was listening to some really dark music, alternative music my whole life. As soon as I switched to listening to positive music, man, I felt 5% better. So you sort of start getting these notches, right, of feeling well and feeling better. Positive thinking. Same thing when I surrounded myself for like 2 weeks. I got obsessed with this freaking Disappeared show where I was, all these people were abducted, and man, I became so depressed. I started having like intrusive thoughts of people dying and things like that. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I'm freaking out. And look at what my environment is. Look what I was intaking. So it's a combination of things to find. You could have someone that's the most positive person in the world, and you know what? That can overcome so many deficiencies, because my grandmother, who is the worst diet on the planet, hasn't exercised in, who knows if she's ever exercised. She drinks tons of soda, tons. God, she refuses to drink water. She smokes 3 packs a day. She's in her 70s, like 73, 74. She's battled every disease, like from not tuberculosis. She's battled many diseases, diverticulitis. Not that that's life-threatening, but I'm trying to remember them right now. But what's the one? A liver one. But she's battled all these diseases, including cancer, and she's always had a good attitude. And people with a good attitude, that actually releases a chemical called I think it's called oxytocin. So if you care about the natural processes that are taking place, hope is similar to the placebo effect. It's why 40% of people get better from taking a sugar pill from depression. It's not because these people are making up they're depressed. Some people who are mild to moderate depressed are able to heal with positive thinking, because like it literally changes the chemical reaction in your brain. It changes the chemicals in your brain. And it's so hard for me to even wrap my head around it. I live in the society of aspirin, quick fixes, Xanax, and that just, like I said, law of diminishing return. That is not the sustainable way to heal. So if you're suffering from whatever stage, positive thinking can definitely change and rewire your brain. At certain stages, it's very difficult to do, especially if your brain has hijacked your mind into thinking constant negative thoughts, and you can't even get out of bed, and you're derealized and you're depersonalized. And you might say, no, this is so uncomfortable, I'm not going to the store. Oh my God, I can't even recognize my own feet. I feel like I'm on a robot. I feel like I'm on a different planet. No, I know that. I've been there. Holy cow. And people told me in that book, you got to go suffer through it. No, I don't want to suffer through it. It's easier not to suffer through it. It's easier to stay at home. Got to find that balance, man. You got to take baby steps. But you know, for me, it's a big win when I go to the store now or pump gas, and I don't have any anxiety, or, well, I do have anxiety, but I can do it without feeling weird. So I've overcame a lot of things, a lot of issues, and people that suffer from PTSD or chronic pain, it's a lot more difficult because I have, you know, multiple things going on. So it's hard for me to forget that, and it definitely boxes me in from doing a lot of things I want to do, which makes me further depressed and anxious, because there are certain restrictions I have due to my medical illness. I don't travel very well. I could flare from car rides and so forth. So I just want people to know that, as much as I appreciate your comments and support, that everybody has a different set of issues. And in my particular case, mine's a little bit complicated, and I'm working on it with the positive thinking, and you can too. And positive thinking will get you a long way. But like my grandmother, positivity got her a long way, but leading poor lifestyle has given her many diseases and made her very sick. Although she's positive attitude about it, you know. So right now, I don't know how old you are, but really at any age, but especially if you're young and you're watching this video, change some things. Start small. But the body is a beautiful temple. The body is a temple from God, and it is, no matter what you believe, it is what is going to guide you and get you through this life. It's what's going to take you to the Eiffel Tower and to the places you want to go and travel and see, and it's going to do all the things you want it to do. So it's a machine. So we take better care of our cars than we do ourselves, and stop putting in crap fuel. Put in rocket fuel. I mean, you know, put in Paleolithic food, healthy foods, and that's going to get you 15%. Positive thinking, another 15%. So you start to accumulate all of these qualities that make us human. Sunlight, meditation, and then you keep on feeling better. You keep on feeling better, and you keep going. And sometimes, if you're deep into it and you're about to kill yourself or something like that, and medication, you have to take it, and take it. But use that as a bridge, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor, so, but in my opinion, you use that as a bridge to get yourself to that level where you can apply these things. Because if you can't even leave bed and you're constantly negative, then if you take a medication to get you out of bed and you're going places and you're doing things, now you're taking positive steps. So everybody's different, and if anyone says anything to you about how, just think yourself out of this, don't listen to them. No one knows your story and what's going on. I welcome you to use some of the things and the resources I talk about, the books like At Last a Life, The Upward Spiral, The Depression Cure, amazing literature, life-changing. I hate reading, that's why I love audibles, because I can sit there at the park, and I can listen to these beautiful stories, or not stories, but help books that professionals much smarter than myself have written and studied and came up with a lot of good research. So we live in a world now where if we have so much we can do, and if we can bring ourselves back to nature, back to where we want to be with ourselves, and lead great lives. So knowledge is power, and I'm here. A person once told me the difference between a smart man and a wise man. A smart man learns from his own mistakes, or woman. A wise man learns from other people's mistakes. So, although I've been dealing with this for damn near a decade in varying degrees, learn from some of my mistakes. It took me freaking 7 years just to realize that water was good for you. I know it sounds crazy. I have a degree, a college degree, and all these things. I consider myself a smart guy, but nutritionally, I was just the most ignorant person. I didn't know. I was raised by my grandma, for God's sakes, but unfortunately, I didn't inherit her positive thinking. I started changing my diet, and it just takes time. So don't beat yourself up. You're going to get better. Just remember that. You're going to get better. No matter what you're dealing with, depersonalization, anxiety, prostatitis, interstitial cystitis, there's hope, and you will get better, and you can get better. And there's lots of resources out there. So subscribe. Sorry I didn't update you on my, supplement medication regime, but I'll hit you up about that later. Right now I'm doing pretty good. I'm at the park with my dogs. I'm getting ready to try to hit 5 miles. And God bless you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.